I've been checking out the Cape Crusader, the new Batman. You remember the Batman the animated series, right?
Yeah, of course.
This is a spiritual successor. It's a little bit more gritty than what we remember growing up on, but it's the same animation style. Reimagine a lot of the characters, the colorblind casting with certain characters like Barbara Gordon. She looks like a black woman. You have Harley Quinn re-characterized as an Asian woman. The big one twist for me was Penguin.
Yeah. It's weird in several aspects. Like,
This is Show versus Business, your weekly take on pop culture from two very different perspectives. I'm your host, the real Theo Harvey. I'm here with Mr. Benja. What is going on this week?
Theo, it is the aftermath of Comic-Con. People are still walking around the streets of San Diego, drunk off of cheap food and the smell of comic books and pulp, and not sleeping. So we still got a little bit of Comic-Con coming up. We're going to talk about some MCU action. We're not going to talk much about DC because they didn't talk much about DC. And we might get into some other little things that happened around the con, but we're also going to get into some Olympic action because that's still part of the mix. And you know what? I think we may have just a little bit of time to talk about Meta for a second. So we'll splash a little bit of that in there, some streaming news and HBCU news, all up in the mix. Sounds like a good week, though. How does it sound to you, Theo?
Man, it sounds wonderful, Mr. Benja. Man, this week was amazing for me. It was amazing and it was okay. I saw some interesting shows
Mhm.
that kind of was got me thinking about, okay, I think we're going to have some shows to still watch because I don't know if a lot of great shows that we've been talking about, The Acolyte, The Boys,
Yep.
Hot D, they're all ending. And so I'm trying to find new shows to watch. I've been checking out the Cape Crusader, the new Batman movie by Paul Dini. And
Right.
yeah, so I think this is, you remember the Batman the animated series, right?
Yeah, of course.
So yeah, so this is a spiritual successor. It's a little bit more gritty than what we remember growing up on, but it's the same animation style. But they reimagine like a lot of the characters. We talked about this on our pod before, but the colorblind casting with certain characters like Barbara Gordon. She looks
Hmm.
like a black woman. And you have Harley Quinn re-characterized as an Asian woman, which the big one twist for me was Penguin is now called is a woman.
Yeah.
So it's definitely different style, but well, different in that is trying to our identity kind of politics is trying to display that in that style of the 40s, in that
Hmm.
film noir style. So it's interesting juxtaposition, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I was talking to Andy about this, and it's weird in several aspects. Like, Harley Quinn, part of her persona was the bubbly white chick. That was partly embedded into her persona. So when she becomes an Asian woman, I'm wondering how they'll play it. I'm just
Mhm.
curious as to how this whole thing plays out. And if you're talking about an aesthetic from the 50s or earlier, are we talking about how Asians were portrayed in America around that time? Does you start to see what I'm saying? You start to wonder about how these answers came about or topics came up and just got brushed under the rug or whatever.
Mhm.
I don't know. So the thing with the Mrs. Cobblepot, in terms of the penguin, you got to think that this was a young boy with angst who couldn't become the savior of the city. He had physical problems. The idea of the penguin is a bad male upbringing with a lot of money. So it's okay.
So it's almost like the Jackson is he's a reflection of Batman, to your point, right? All the
Yeah.
villains are a reflection of Batman, right? And that's why they
Yes.
work. But so the penguin is the other story of an orphan that goes
Hmm.
wrong, and
Yeah.
so I agree. So there that is missing that connective tissue when you change things up so drastically. I never thought of it like that. That's good insight.
Yeah. I'm not saying it'll be bad or anything. I just want to see how it plays out and how it takes, and definitely see how the people enjoy it. So, if y'all got any comments, as always, flame me down below.
Blame you. Look, I'm enjoying it so far. I watched
Okay.
3 episodes. It's got that kind of film noir style. They actually are building up more the cops like
Good.
Renee Montoya, Bullock, and their storylines and they're always intermixed with Batman's investigation. So they're almost like they're there, but he's just ignoring them and he's doing
Yeah.
his thing. But and they're trying to build more of the city of Gotham, right? But then I think each episode is one villain at a time, and so
Mm.
they're introducing bits and pieces of the lore in a new aesthetic style. Catwoman walking around with a cape now and a hat. Like, a cape and a law with a dress with a split down the middle and high
Yeah.
heels. Like, but that's how she dressed, right? When if the Batman first came out in the 40s, or yeah, in the 40s or so. So yeah, 1940s, guys, kids. Yes, that's a long time ago. Even for Mr. Benja and I, that was a long time ago. But
Yeah,
yeah,
but glad
it
you're
is.
checking it out, man. I gotta get on that. And is it formatted like a new age streaming serial? Is it all connected from one story to the next, or are they just individual with
Yeah, it's more kind of an individual with an overarching story.
okay.
Batman's never-ending war against crime, but each villain is introducing a different aspect of that.
So
So,
there's
like I said, I only saw 3 episodes, so I can't determine what the overarching arch is or what the long-term vision is for the season. But the interesting part is, guess what? Business is Show versus Business is premiering on Prime and not HBO Max. And so HBO Discovery owns DC content, DC characters. This is a case where we talked about this, I think
yeah,
maybe a year ago, that DC is licensing HBO, excuse me, what's it called?
Discovery
Discovery. I know the
whatever it is now. It's
yeah, Warner Discovery. Thank you. Warner Discovery. They are starting to license characters like the Batman to other properties, which is Amazon. So this is uniquely different. So yeah, we'll see how this goes from a business standpoint.
I think they should just call it juicy media.
Deep gut. Let me think here. The other thing too I saw was did you hear about that latest M. Night Shyamalan joint that just popped up on the theaters? Trap. It's called Trap.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you
Is
know
this
the premise of Trap?
is this the one with his family members that were pushing it, or that he's co-part of, or is this all him?
Yes, number 1, yes. All the above.
Okay.
This is a weird, interesting movie. So the premise is and it spoke to me, right? Because this is I'm in that phase now of adulthood. The premise is a dad is taking his daughter to a concert, and in the concert, there's heavy police presence, and the dad finds out that heavy police presence is because they're setting a trap for a serial killer they're trying to capture. And then when the dad walks away and looks on his phone, we see that has someone that he has is about to kill. He's waiting to leave the place and go murder the guy. And because the dad himself is a serial killer. So basically, it's him being a serial killer trying to figure out how to get out of this trap while he's dealing with his daughter. So it's a totally original premise. I'd never heard of this before. And that's what M. Night does, right? Fabulous premises that he and original stories. But to your point, what makes this unique and different was not just the premise and not the fact that also you're in the mind of the serial killer. So you're basically tracking him, trying to figure out how you're gonna get out of this situation. Because everywhere you turn, cops are trying to capture you and try to figure out who you are. So it's like that video game vibe, right? You're trying to escape and can you go this way? How do you get out of this? He's in a room full of cops. How do you get out of that situation? But the meta commentary on this is that yes, they are at a concert, and guess who is featured in the concert? None other than M. Night's daughter, who is actually a pop star, a budding pop star. So she actually created original songs and a whole concert experience just for this movie. And so she's out there singing and dancing, and you're maneuvering. We're with the main character played by Josh Hartnett while the concert is going
Hmm.
around you. So it's very interesting concept. Definitely got to take some. I wrote a big letterbox review on it, but you got to throw out some of your common sense on some of this. But it's very interesting premise. So kudos to M. Night, keeping it interesting, keeping it juicy for us stuck on these same old stories, Marvel stories, third act where someone has to punch someone. This is definitely different. So yeah, kudos to them for trying to do something different in 2024.
All right. That's cool. I'm pausing because you mentioned Letterboxd. I haven't heard that in a second. People still rocking with Letterboxd?
I am. I'm trying to get to the point. I wrote my letterbox review of Wolverine, excuse me, Deadpool and Wolverine also before our deep dive conversation last week. I'm
Right.
trying to get into it more. I'm trying to get my thoughts down first before I rush to other sites and see what their thoughts are. And I want to get a sense of how aligned was I with them or how not aligned, and or were there parts of the movie that resonated with folks like it resonated with me. And so it's just always interesting. So I try to get my reviews out right after I watch the movie. So yeah, I'm doing more of that. So yes,
All right.
it's still a thing. It's still a
'Cause
thing.
I think you and Jeff are the people around me who have mentioned it before.
Yeah. It's
So,
just because there's so much voices out there, man. Just let me get my voice out there first and let me
yeah.
think. And then it's like I always go back and like I did a review of Dune and I went back to watch to read it. And I said, oh yeah, that still tracks. Dune 2. Yeah, that still tracks. I said it was over reliant on spectacle and visuals. I felt the story was almost nonsensical sometimes, but and also that became a little monotonous because everything was done in the desert. So that was my review, and I was like, "Yeah, that still tracks."
Nice. It's funny. I just opened it up, and this guy's headline for Trap, the Trap movie is, "You gotta wonder if M. Night Shyamalan has ever had a conversation with a human being." And that just struck me as funny as, like, the first thing I see there.
His dialogue is not good. Let's be honest. The guy comes in there. He says, "He's oh, I like you and your daughter. You guys seem like you guys have good values." Who talks to people like that? Just, but the premise, yes, top notch.
Alright. So, yeah, man, the week was interesting for me. I've been really focusing on just there was this certain vibe I had during late college, early graduate school, and it was even parts of high school, but I was a little more just out of control bouncing around than high school. But basically, I had a certain development vibe that I wanted to get back to. We always talk about Benjamin Hardy and Future Self and all that. Somewhere in his discussions, I think he mentioned something about at some point in your past, you look back on it fondly and you take a lot of the good from that and you're like, yeah, that defines me today and okay, etc. But the one part of that discussion that he does is he mentions that you can key back into that vibe and that feeling. And he just threw it out there and kept going about his business. But I'm like, yeah, I do that a lot. I always try to go back and key off of these certain feelings and strengths and vibes that I used to have. So I think I spent a whole day putting together an old school playlist of music that I listen to. It's 100 songs, 120 songs now. But I had to go back and make a playlist that every song was just like, yo, I was listening to this in the FAMU library. Yo, I was listening to this in the study room down by DRS. Yo, I was listening to this when we had that all nighter and Zach brought pizza over. It was just like, so all these songs I just had that reminded me of being in the zone and working. So after my afternoon slump, after that hits, I get a little matcha tea and then I start playing this playlist. I take my shoes off and run around the house in my socks, risky business style, just run around the house in my socks and matcha tea and getting hype. And I'm getting the vibes back, man. It's so weird. Just really replaying those vibes and trying to get them back. And I'm like, I am back in that college mode where I'm trying stuff, I'm doing different things. Excited about what the next step is going to be. And I have that, I'm trying to get that energy back again. Not just looking at everything cynically. It's a whole mental thing, right? So this week I've just been practicing this out and feeling a lot better about it, by the way. So I'm just cooking on this personal development jot booking thing and it's all coming together. It's great.
Yeah, man. I love it, man. Nostalgia is a hell of a drug. It is. And when you can use music to transport you back, I've been transported back by smells, by songs, like you said. So it's always good to go back. And it's just to and then also when you go back, you also who were you as that person back then? And can you reconnect to that type of person that was full of whatever, right? Joy, enthusiasm. And can you connect that too? It's like reaching across time says old Theo, older Theo versus young Theo. Can we connect like Voltron? And I can sap some of your energy. So I
Yeah.
can take it to the next level. So it's like a time travel and back time machine going back in time to connect to your to that thought process that. And then to your point, I'm sure yeah, our brains are powerful, right? They create these pathways tied to certain images and music and people and things like that. And you can recreate that, then I think that's a powerful thing. And I think that's what you're trying to do. And I tried to do that too a couple of times. Just I take a moment just to reminisce. I say, man, I did this before, man. Come on, man. You know what to do. Just do what you do, son. Don't
And
forget who you are. What's that from Black Panther? Show them who you are, right? It's just you already know.
yeah, man. And you know what? Quite honestly, talking to you every week, I get a boost of the old college fight. I'm telling you, it happens.
Same here. Same here, brothers. That's why we do this. Yes, we like to give shout outs to the folks that listen to us and and watch us and all that. But guys, look, we're selfish. We do it because we it helps us. So that's why we're doing this. So you guys are a nice byproduct. Ultimately, this is helping us get through our weeks.
Yes, and if you come from FAMU, call us.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. And speaking of competitions, the Olympics is still doing its thing, man. It's getting a lot of good buzz. People are talking about it. And I think this year was really necessary and needed, as I mentioned last week. I think with all of the just the current social media vibe, I think the Olympics does something pretty good and great and bringing everybody together to talk reasonably sensible to each other and just enjoy it, right?
Mhm. I would agree. I'm not a big Olympics guy, but like we talked about that last week. I watched the basketball and the sprinting. Not too much the swimming. But when you have kids, it's interesting. They get into it, man. They just oh, what's how this sport? What's this sport? They're super excited for breakdancing. I think I am too a little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah.
That
Breaking,
doesn't
yep.
come out till this week or breaking. Yeah. You just go in there. If you have the Peacock app, if you don't, you can probably find it on USA or somewhere on television somewhere. But if you get the Peacock app, they actually allow you to go to all the different sporting events. You can just click on it and you just they'll have the whole event, like the 3 hour event. So if you're watching, like the other day, my kids got sapped into watching the what's it called, the walk race where they walking fast.
The fast walkers, the old ladies in the mall tracksuits. Yes.
Dude, they got wrapped into that, boy. I was like, good for them. They were just like amazed. And it was just like on for like hours because they're going around and around. Yeah,
How's
they're
that fast
doing
one
their
flip?
thing.
I love it.
You would get penalized if that one toe or one heel is off the ground. Don't do it. Don't do it. Yeah, so they get wrapped up into it. Obviously, I watched live the Simone Biles. I said I didn't want to get spoiled. So I actually sat down and watched the whole cycles when they do all 4 routines, and I see why she's so dominant. Her level and I think I knew this, but it wasn't until I actually sat down and watched. I never watched a whole routine, even all the other Olympics, but when I actually saw it, it's like her margin of error is so much greater because her stuff she's doing is so much higher than all her competition.
Yeah.
So she can still mess up and still dominate. And so I think a lot of Olympians I get why some of the gymnasts could be a little upset about that. But if someone can jump out to the moon, what can you do?
Yeah.
She just on another level when it comes to how to execute moves. She has so many moves. They even name moves after her in the Olympics. And so
So
that's when you know you're the GOAT.
she is officially the most decorated Olympic athlete ever. Is that right?
I don't know. I thought it was still Phelps, but I'll look into it. She just got to go as we're recording this today in the individual vault competition, but she won gold and all around and team gold, and so that hasn't happened in a while. I take that back. I think we won it in 2014 to last Olympics in Tokyo, but yeah, so she's done it again. Yeah, she's just the goat, man. It is what it is.
Okay. According to NBC Olympics, Simone Biles becomes most decorated U.S. Olympic gymnast. Okay. I don't know if that's saying, let's see, I want to make sure this is all time. Okay. She passed the legendary Shannon Miller. Okay. So to become the most decorated U.S. Olympic gymnast in history, but that's gymnast, not Olympian. So, in terms of all sports, it doesn't say anything about that. I'm sure we'll hear that news if it happens. Okay.
Oh wow. Yeah, we got some news to break too, man. The 100 meters. Do you want me to break the news here? As
Go
we're,
ahead, dog.
as we're doing it. Looks like did not win. Shakari Richardson was a favor. She did not win. The young girl from St. Lucia, she won. Julian Alfred. Shakari got second place. She got a silver. But man, I gotta watch that. Yeah, while we were recording, I thought it was gonna be around like 3:30, so I was gonna try to watch it, but yeah, I must have missed it. But yeah, she smoked her by literally by 5 seconds.
Yeah,
But that's just what it is. Wow, Sakura, I thought she was favored to win, but that's what they say. That's why you run the race, right? You just don't know.
yeah.
So
Now,
for those who don't know, Shakari Richardson was supposed to win the gold. She was the favorite. She won at the nationals or the world's championships, but she just didn't pull it off in the Olympics. That's tough.
so while we're here and talking about awesome athletics, I gotta throw in. We talk about people doing awesome things all the time. One, I just gotta throw in. Do you know Katie Ledecky,
Hmm. Yeah.
the swimmer? My gosh, it's so comical how far ahead she is of everybody else in terms of swimming. The 20 fastest ever women's 1,500-meter times are all this one person. Dog, that's comedy. So if they say the fastest 20 times and just list them, they're all gonna be the same name, and she's been doing this for years.
Mhm.
So if anybody wants to break her record, they have to break her 20th record, her 19th record, her 18th record. It's just comedy. And they have one visual, right, of her reaching out and touching the end where they mark the time, the end of the pool.
Mhm.
She was so far ahead, there was nobody else on screen.
Yeah. Yeah. That reminds me of the Usain Bolt. Remember Usain Bolt's the famous picture where he is so far ahead of the field when he's running the 100-meter, and they're like
Yeah,
at least 2 feet behind him. Is
yeah,
like that's the amazing thing about these sports is like someone can be so dominant. It just boggles the mind. It's wait a minute, aren't these the same human being or not? What's going on here? And just it's just amazing to me how some people 'cause I think and it's such a interesting these racing sports, they're so interesting because it's almost swimming, I don't know, man. Swimming seems like you could be dominant for a long time because of just the technique is so mastered and you probably get better and faster over time as you learn more and more techniques. I was watching that show Sprinter on Netflix. Have you watched that?
actually, no, I haven't.
Yeah, they go into the last year of how all the top sprinters across the world, not just in the US, like Noah Lyle and Sha'Carri Richardson, but the Jamaicans and folks, the gold winner the last 4 years from Italy, they would just go into their mental understanding of how to prepare to win. And it's just like little things like, oh, your shin was too high. It was at a 45-degree angle. It should be at 37-degree angle. It's just like little things. Oh, that box, when you get off that box, keep your head down at like at least another 30-degree angle. Swing your arms a little bit higher, that right arm. It's gotta go a bit higher than your eye. It's just like all these little tweaks
Yeah,
that build up to just that 0.05 second difference that you need to get you to the next level. And I think that just accumulates so much faster when it comes to swimming, right? Because there's so many because you got your arm, your legs, you know how you breathe.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's amazing to me how dominant folks can be in these sports.
What's funny, when I'm watching people play back a video game or play a video game that I've worked on, you get to a level where you can start to see certain things. Like when you open that door, that animation will slow down like half a second just
Mhm.
so they could like load in something on the other side of the door. I'm like, there it is, messing up again. Oh, look at this. This glitch happened. Nobody else saw it, but I saw the trees behave a little differently or something when they blew. So it's really funny getting to that level. But sorry, just thought I'd throw that in there. But I do have a question for you.
Oh,
How is Peacock doing with their streaming numbers? It's hard to watch a lot of these events now. We used to just sit down and watch it on network TV, but now it's pretty much a lot of the stuff is gated, right?
yeah, Peacock actually, Peacock was starting to jump build momentum even before the Olympics, right? They had some decent content. They got movies owned by Comcast, Universal, so they can All the Minion movies show up there, Kung Fu Panda movies.
Yeah.
Obviously, NBC stuff shows up there, like Saturday Night Live, and so they were already doing pretty well. So I'm looking at you throwing these numbers at me, so I'm going to I'm looking up numbers as we speak. They said the Paris Olympics averaged 34 million viewers in first 4 days, up 77% from Tokyo. Said Monday night's programming scored 31.3 million viewers on NBC, Peacock, and other NBC Universal platforms. So they're lumping it in with their other platforms like USA, NBC, the traditional NBC
Mhm.
network, things like that. But I gotta believe it's helping draw viewership up and stuff like that. I already had the Peacock. Only complaint I have is I paid for it for a year. It was pretty cheap to pay for a year, but you still watching commercials. And so why am I paying for it? But I'm still watching commercials. I hate that. I hate that.
That I didn't
So
know.
yeah. So I'm still watching commercials. I'm trying to watch replays of the Olympics, and they stuck out like every 2 minutes. There's a commercial for another 30 minutes or 30 seconds. So I'm like, oh. So anyway, that's one thing I don't like. What are you paying? What are we paying for? But yeah.
Commercials.
So they're doing well. We'll see after the Olympics. That's what they pay. That's what NBC paid for the Olympics. So I think it was a couple $1 billion that they paid for the Olympics to broadcast. So I think it's one of the things that you have to do to grow your. They said Paris proving a boon to NBC after interest waned in Tokyo and. So I guess they were losing money in Tokyo and Beijing, but this is up. The company averaged 34 million people a day, up from 19 million over the same period in Tokyo. The company says taking in more than 1.25 billion advertising revenue is best ever for Olympics, and it's still not over yet. Yeah, it's doing pretty good for them. I wonder if they got the Olympics gonna be in Los Angeles in 4 years. Did you hear about that?
Yeah, I did.
So I wonder if they're gonna get that one. That's gonna be huge because it's an American. So I think that's gonna be the one that's gonna take them over the top. But yeah, I think Peacock's doing well, man.
Yeah, it should be interesting. When's the last time the Olympics were in LA?
1984, brother.
Dang.
It's 1984. Get your tickets now, son.
Oh man, LA traffic.
Yeah.
I wonder if the Elon Musk and his boring company are doing anything about that.
Oh, I
That'd be a
wonder if
good
he
test, right?
yeah, if he can get it up and running in time. Oh, so yeah, so it's yeah, man. I'm digging these Olympics, man. Any memes or anything that you're liking out there as one who may not be watching them as much as I am, but anything catching your attention on the show?
I totally like the shooter girl, and there were a lot of names going on here, so I didn't get everybody's name. I'm just gonna call them by their handles, I guess. Um, the Korean shooter girl. Basically, she looks like an anime character. And if you haven't seen her, you haven't been online in a week because this girl with her black hat turned to the back and her spy tech glasses, she looks like she's got some Inspector Gadget stuff going on. And she's just holding this gun out and has this face. And it's just a comedic, but so serious of a face. And it got me thinking about all the fashions and everything. Have you seen this girl?
Mhm. I'm familiar with her.
Yeah. And then right after her comes the shooter guy,
Mhm.
where this guy who's got nothing basically just comes in with a turkey, this a T-shirt that says "turkey" on the front, and his regular Warby glasses. Just like, hey, how's it going, everybody? I got my glasses from the store. It's not a special store; it's a generic store. I got my T-shirt. I'm gonna put one hand in my pocket and I'm gonna shoot and get silver. Just in contrast to the person who's all decked out, hat to the back, and crazy looking. Two
Yep,
instant,
headphones. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, muffled. So he and this guy's yeah, they said he just looks like he walked up there. He's 51-year-old. He's from Turkey, Yusuf Dikek, and he shot his way to a silver medal without anything, just in a t-shirt
One hand,
and some jeans in one hand, man.
one hand in
And
his
when you
pocket.
watch, I actually watched it too with my kids. Dude, that dude was like dead shot, man. It was like literally like he would move his hand and it was like he'll roll it down a little bit and he would get with this like really focused and he shot it. Man, he was like dead shot right in the middle. I was like, dang, that's cold blooded, man. Don't mess with him. And then the emotions that they have no emotions. So I don't know, man. That guy seems like he's done this before.
Everybody was saying that he only shot as bad as he did because he didn't wanna come in gold and get all the attention.
Oh, good point. He he may be he may be working for somebody. Yeah, we never know. Oh, man, what else is going on in the Olympics, man? What else did you like?
As I said, I got for I just totally derailed off into the fashions this year. Sha'Carri Richardson, she had her Team USA outfit done by Ralph Lauren, as the entire USA team did. She was really glammed up in hers and had her nails all done, all crazy. Everybody was loving that. As always, the Norwegian curling team came through with their awesome pants. And James, it's gonna be an easy one for you. You can just run through these. Skateboarder came in with his own shoe, sponsored by Nike. So this is the first time something like this has happened. I'm gonna show up with the new shoe. It's gonna be debuts the Olympics. It's gonna be awesome. Team Haiti came in with their traditional bottoms, more professional, modern tops. Beyonce's Team USA video was knocking people over. It was crazy. Oh,
Yeah.
Liberia was the country I was trying to think of that had the African, I don't want to call it the neckline on their outfits. It was shaped like Africa. It seems like a simple thing. It's like, all right, that's interesting, but it really came across nice. And France was very slick as well. So I don't know. All these fashions this year just blew our mind. And I don't want to sit here and talk like I'm a super fashion guy, although I did have 35 pairs of tennis shoes at one point. But at the same time, yes. But yeah, man, the
Uh,
fashion really got people into the Olympics this year. It's really fascinating.
it's interesting. These guys, they get look, sprinting, track and field, other sports, they're probably uh, more well known outside outside the Olympics because every year they have the world championship. I think is they're just bigger sports, right? Unlike here in the United States, we don't just go watch track every now and then or go watch the indoor meet. Sometimes we may, but not
Yeah,
really. And so it's interesting. So the Olympics are what we pay attention to. And now that it's here, the memes, the TikToks, everybody's, oh, who are these folks? Listen, this is, and my thought is that the Olympics is content now. It's
yeah,
something to talk about, and it's a way to utilize uh, and have something you can put out there on TikTok. You can dress up as Noah Lyles. You can do some try to do the. You can make a funny meme of you trying to do Simone Biles
yeah,
routine, right? So it's like there's so much content can be created, and or you can just make reaction videos, right, to Olympic stuff. So it's just so much content that can be delivered outside the Olympics because there's so many different sports, so many different characters, so many different athletes, so many different storylines. And so it's because you remember back in the day, you remember they don't do this as much anymore, but you remember back in the day, they used to do these big, long, lofty pieces. They would go back into the storyline of the athletes, right? They go to his home and they'll go be like, "Oh yeah, this is how he grew up." And they have old pictures of him as a baby, and they show, "Yeah,
yeah,
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 I knew he was gonna be fat." They don't do that much. They'll show a little bit. You gotta go watch the documentary or something like that. Simone Biles has one. They would sit down with them and interview them and have these long conversations with them. Man, they just let the internet do that now.
you got to, you got
The lucky yeah, 5 minutes and that's it, man. So Olympics as content, I think that is the storyline of this, and it was like that during the Tokyo. I think the Tokyo was a little toned down because of the pandemic, right? I think it was a year later, right? It happened in 21, number 1, and
yeah,
then when you watched, there was nobody really in the stands, there was nobody cheering people on. I think a lot of the Olympians loved that, be honest with you, 'cause they didn't have to deal with the pressure, it was a little bit quieter,
yeah.
but now that the stadiums are back and everybody's excited again, I think everybody's, "Okay, this is the
It's
Olympics, it's how it should
You
be."
know what? So that would be the first time in, let's say, 8 years that we have a big social media presence on the lookout for the Olympics. So that's pretty big just in terms of people sharing content, people doing things on a global scale. Like, what other global thing can you do? And that touches everybody. Like, hey, I skateboard and skateboarding's in the Olympics now. And it's a bizarre thing to see kids who are in skateboarding getting into the Olympics. It's like for a while it seemed like more of a, I don't want to say closed off, but it wasn't as accessible. It was like you were an Olympics fan or you were just somebody else. Now it's no, I can get into that.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, so it's interesting. One thing I did notice when I did watch the heats for all the 100-meter dashes, dude, every country had somebody on that 100-meter dash. You saw women there from Guam, Guatemala, Iran with the burqa and everything, and I was like, "Are these women fast?" And that little girl with the burqa, man, she was gone. I was like, "Damn." So, it's if you go if nothing else, it's just such a fundamental sport, running. Everybody can do it.
Yeah.
And a lot of the women, let's be honest, they probably live in America, but they made to make the American team, or maybe they wanted to represent their own home country again,
Mhm.
but they still live. They're like a sophomore at Jacksonville State, right? One of the girls, she's from Guatemala. She was a sophomore at Jacksonville State. It's hey, I get to run the Olympics because I'm representing Guatemala. so, so I thought that was fascinating. But man, it was just interesting, and you don't know who's fast or not. Yes, Jamaica's gonna be fast. The women from US are gonna be fast, but man, they had some girl from Poland. She smoked everybody. I was like, dang. And just no rhyme or reason to who's fast or not. And so it's just amazing to me. And so I think that the 100-meter dash is just a great equalizer across the countries. You basically have over 50 countries, if you go by all the heats that they had to do, represented in that one race, right? And so that's amazing to me. So yeah, kudos to the women's 100. And to your point, we I guess we do talk about women and people who win first time medals. So Julian Alfred, who won from St. Lucia a gold medal, this is the first time St. Lucia has ever won a medal, ever.
Nice.
So she did it. Kudos to her. And she was
No.
not the favorite.
Oh, underdog.
Oh yeah, she was underdog.
Well, shout out to James for making that short last time. We got another one from the Philippines. Carlos Edriel Yulo produced a spectacular performance to win the men's floor exercise final at the Paris Games on Saturday, earning Philippines their first ever Olympic medal in gymnastics. And that makes it the second ever gold prize won by the Philippines across both summer and winter games, and the first in the men's category. That's from coming from Routers. So yeah, two gold medals, first time ever, 1 year. I'm just saying, they're coming up.
Oh, wow. Yeah, man.
Speaking of
Oh, wow.
fashions, their stuff was tight. They had like the white suits on with the colored shoulders. They had the colors going across the shoulders. Badass,
Who's
man.
that? Who was that?
The Philippines team.
Okay. Kudos to them, man. Nah, man, it's sprinting. After watching that documentary, man, sprinting is like one of those sports. I ran in high school, and I ran when I was little. Shout out our coach Jesse Owen games back in the day. Man, that is nothing more nerve wracking when you at that line, the 100-yard dash, and right before that gun goes off, man, it's almost like your heart is in your chest, and you just that stomach knots, but when that gun goes off, boy, yeah, it just what's that called? Potential energy, PE, gets
Yeah.
converted to kinetic energy, and you explode. And it's just amazing, man. That's that. But kudos to those guys. And like they said, it's such a mental thing because like, they even show, like, they had the fastest woman in the world. She was, like, beat the she had the Olympic record, and she got smoked, and it was 5th because it was a mental thing. She wasn't ready or something, and she got off to a bad start. So, yeah, shout out to the Olympians who trained 8 months just to get 0.05 seconds shaved off your time. Oh, and shout out to real quick, I did notice too when I did the research, Julian Alfred and Sha'Carri Richardson were in the semifinals together. So they go through all the different heats to get to the final. So in that semifinal, Julian Alfred beat Sha'Carri Richardson. So maybe that got in her head. So see stuff like that.
Yeah,
She
yeah.
already beat her in the semifinal. So now it was already a little doubt that was sewed into her head. So when they face each other in the final. So anyway, stuff like that happens, man. It's just such a weird interesting sport.
So, next level, where does this all go? We were talking about how it got bigger from the people, and we mentioned, I think we mentioned last time, Snoop Dogg, how he's sponsoring the women's swim team, I believe, or one of the synchronized swimming, one of the water events for women's team he's sponsoring. Or is that Flavor
I thought it
Flav?
was Flavor
Mix it up.
Flav.
I'm sorry, I mixed it up. All those skinny black guys look alike.
Oh, don't
So
get canceled.
don't get canceled. I can't cancel myself. I'm a little chunky, stocky, so I can rag on him. No, Flav sponsored a team and basically got a lot of people looking over at this team. And for their living conditions, he was talking about this teacher who was being who had her teaching job, a second job, and then was trying to do stuff for the Olympics. And so she had all this stuff going on and I've heard about it. He was like, "Oh man, we can do something about this. They're out there representing us, doing all this hard work, and they're still trying to make ends meet." So he went and did that, and it went over well. And now you've got Kevin Hart and Snoop Dogg out here talking about the Olympics online, putting out podcast episodes and doing things. Keenan as well. Keenan, what's his last name?
Thompson from
Thompson.
Saturday
Yes,
Night Live. Yeah.
Keenan Thompson from Saturday Night Live out here doing things for Olympics as well. It's just, is this starting to become more of a cool thing? And if so, I could just imagine Olympians being sponsored by different groups in different ways that makes it a little bit more of a, I don't know, socio-economic political thing where, new movies coming out and you've got these Olympians in there saying, "Yeah, this is the new movie coming out. You watch the Olympics, watch this movie." I don't know. Seems like something though, maybe.
I think that's a good idea. I think I knew a couple people who were Olympians. They were trained. They worked at my old company, Cisco Systems, and they worked. I forgot what country they were representing. They would work during the day, and then have their training sessions to get ready for the Olympics. And it was a long journey, but because they weren't making anything to be a sprinter, but they had a chance to be an Olympian. Now, some of the top-notch sprinters, other folks, they have leagues and stuff. I think they can win like checks, literal checks, every chance they win, $10,000 check for winning. Kudos to you. But most Olympians, they don't have leagues like that you can get paid for. So it would be nice to see more celebrities do that and sponsor them to help. I think it would probably have to be closer to the year right before the Olympics, maybe not
Yeah,
all the other 3 years out of the year, out of the month, but out of the time before the Olympics. But this Los Angeles one is going to be huge. So I could definitely see a lot of celebrities jump on the bandwagon because when it comes around in LA, you can just show up, be like, hey, I sponsored this whole synchronized diving team. So what? Give me my props. LA represent what?
random people showing up at random events. To correct my previous lack of knowledge right on hand there, Flavor Flav sponsored the U.S. women's water polo team, and he said he wanted to be their hype man. So that's that.
There it is. Smart, man. Smart move.
And speaking of placing bets, man, we got some bets to place. You ready to play some bets?
Let's do it. Let's do it, man.
All right. So, in case you guys are wondering, every year Comic Con comes around, and we always talk about what's going on, what's going to be the next big thing for the year. People announce their projects. We see what people are putting out in terms of trailers and things. And as last week we told you that Robert Downey Jr. was going to be coming back to the MCU. We thought he was dead, right? Well, he's coming back as Doctor Doom. That got us all talking about a whole bunch of stuff. But we wanted to talk about what's going to happen in the next year. We want to lay down some predictions, lay down some ideas and thoughts. And really quickly, so we just finished up with Deadpool and Wolverine. We've already seen Echo. We've already seen What If, The Marvels, Loki season 2. We saw Secret Invasion. We saw Guardians of the Galaxy 3, and we saw Ant-Man and the Wasp. That was from the last phase. Now we're going to push it 1 year out and see what we're going to get. And if we like it, we don't. Or if we are unsure, I don't know. I haven't checked with Theo's feelings on this. I don't know what you're going to say over there, buddy. But, oh, and we're not talking about DC this year. They didn't bring anything out, so we're not really talking about them. We'll bring them up in another podcast when they have some more news. But for now, we'll just start with the Marvel stuff. So, Theo, I don't know exactly how you want to do this. Just want to run through all of them, give our quick predictions.
Yeah, let's go through them quickly.
All right. So, first off, we don't have a definite date on this one, but your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man animated series. It's supposed to be not like it's not supposed to be like Across the Spider-Verse, or it's not supposed to be like What If kind of animation, or X-Men 97. I guess it is like X-Men 97 in the sense that they're going to key in on the old school comic, literal comic, not in the news strip kind of comics, old school kind of look, but updated somehow. So
Mhm.
I don't know what that's going to be about. I don't know. I don't even know if you've heard anything about this. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I heard about it. It's just, I guess it's set high school years and trying to bring home that more localized storytelling. Spider-Man stories, they tend to, oh, look how I'm going to talk about it, sprawl out like a web pretty quickly. So you can start off small. Look, by the premise, friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. So from my understanding, it's going to be try to be a little bit smaller storytelling. So basically run-ins with the Rhino, but he's not going to be out here hanging with Madam Web, in the Clone Saga. But
Right, right.
hopefully not. But yeah, so I think it's gonna be quaint. But I don't know, man. The animation bar is quite high now after X-Men 97. So I hope they do something interesting with it to make us want to watch it. They really dip into nostalgia, pretty interesting. That might be working. Like I said, there's so many Spider-Man cartoons that are animation shows or just all at all times. It's hard to keep track of ones that are really gonna stand out. So we'll see what they do here. So I give it a mild reaction. I don't know if we want to do a two golf claps. I don't know what we should call it, but it's I give it two woke bros, two woke bros. If
Okay.
that's the system. We need to come up with
Out
something.
of
That's what
out
I'm
of
trying to
5?
say.
Out of 5 or something?
Yeah, five woke bros. That's what we're gonna call it.
Alright.
If it's one woke bro, it's not a good movie, but five, man, you gotta go run out and go watch this show. Yeah, I give it around two.
Oh, okay. Alright. Information on this is a little scant right now, but I like what they're doing, and I think it's also gonna wrap into the de-tacularizing of Spider-Man. So, remember from the movies, they took him down a notch. "Hey, you know what? Give back the Stark armor, come back to your roots, and see where we can grow from there." So I think that's gonna tie into that a little bit. I'm actually gonna give it 3 woke bros.
Ooh.
Yes. Alright. Looking
And we'll
forward to it.
come up. We'll determine if this rating system is something we'll keep long term. But I like it so far.
Alright. Now, is this just our personal feelings or what we think is actually gonna happen? I like personal.
Yeah, personal feelings. Yeah.
Alright, because I gotta go straight into the second one. Agatha All Along.
Uh oh.
So, I don't like the fact that the title itself is already a spoiler for anybody who hasn't seen WandaVision, but I think it's just goofy. I think they dropped the ball on what they could have done. Maybe they'll bring it back with proper sorcery, but I don't know, man. I am not having a good internal reaction to Agatha so far. In fact, I'm sitting up here wondering if I should give it a how if I should use a half star and give it 1.5, or should I give it 2 stars, or screw it. I'll give it 1 star. I think it's gonna brick, man, and I'm not feeling it.
Mm, I love it. I love it.
Mostly because of
Yeah,
Wanda.
I'm kind.
But,
Yeah, WandaVision has so much promise, and I think added all along to your point is like, why are you using a spoiler to introduce this character where it could be? I think they originally called it like Agatha Harkness, right? A Covenant or something or whatever. And so I think they're leaning into more of the scary side of MCU, which I'm there for, right? Let's talk about it. Let's figure that out. But now it's going to be, and then Kathleen Hahn, great actress. It's very funny too. So she could do both drama and be funny. And who else was in it? There's a lot of other different actresses in it. I'm middling on it. I don't know. I'll watch maybe one episode, see if it's amusing enough. But I agree. I'm giving it. I may give it. Let's see. I gave it two last time for Spider Man. I can't give it that one. I don't know, man. I'm gonna have to go with you, Mr. Benja. I'll give it one woke bro. Guess I do feel like it would do worse than Spider Man. I can't give it two. Yeah, I'm going for one. I wish they did something more interesting. But it's and then all these, let's be honest, is all hanging on the cloud. They Marvel messed themselves up a little bit because now we got all these other shows coming out. They have nothing to do with Doomsday. And so we're just going to be watching these movies and upset that they don't mention Doom in every episode or every scene of a movie, or he shows up in an end credit scene. So it's
Or
like, why are we watching this?
yeah, is it gonna be shoehorned in some weird way?
Oh yeah. Oh, I hope
Yeah.
not. God
All right,
no.
so this is the first difficult one. Captain America: Brave New World. Captain Black Falcon American Wilson is reprising his role and coming back from a TV show to a movie. It's just the first time we've really done this in this way with Marvel. So we get to see how this plays out. Gosh, I almost wanna pass on this one because I saw the trailer and I think the trailer actually got me kind of hype. I'm actually, you know what? I actually think they're so scared of this one not going right that they're gonna make it work. I'm gonna go 4 woke brews.
Ooh, spicy.
I feel like I'm gonna eat my
I
words, but I'm
love
gonna
it.
go 4 woke brews.
I love it. Look, I'm there for it. I'm not as I think a lot of folks did not like Falcon and Winter Soldier. I dug it, man. I dug Nemo in the club, bumping to some music. I love them hanging out in crime world. I
Yeah,
love all that. And I think Anthony Mackie is just a entertaining guy in general. So I think he'll make it work. Harrison Ford being grumpy old man. We already knew he was grumpy. So now he could
yeah,
actually be the literal embodiment of grumpiness, right? As a Hulk. So I think, and then I think it's going to have some of those vibes of Captain America, the Winter Soldier, right? A little
true.
espionage. And boy, if they get my boy that old man strength coming out, Isaiah, is who is I? What's it? Is it? I want to say Isaiah
Isaiah
Washington,
Bradley,
but it's not that. Bradley, yeah. If they bring Isaiah Bradley back doing that old man strength on folk, I'm
"Does he
there
look like
for it.
old
So
man to you?"
yeah. Shout out Avatar. So I give it 4 WBs, man. I'm there for it too.
Alright. Daredevil: Born Again. High bar coming from the Netflix Daredevil, but I really actually liked what Disney did with the Echo series, and I think hearing about what's happened with
Only one, Mr. Benja.
oh, crap.
That's that, that was not I couldn't finish it. That was not a good show.
Whoa. Oh, okay. I thought it did far better than, She-Hulk and Hawkeye, but yeah, I'm with it, man. I'm hoping they do good things, and I think good things will happen. I give it a 4.
Okay. I love it. Yeah. Very quaint. Or
Daredevil ain't
what
quaint, man. Why
movies?
you putting quaint on that?
Quaint, quaint. I don't know, man. It seems like it's all been done before.
Okay.
I think they did kudos to them casting the same actor basically and villain as before because they're phenomenal actors. And I like the fact that Charlie Cox, who plays Daredevil, he was a little lighter version of Daredevil in that show that should not be named that people She-Hulk that people hated. But I liked him being that kind of lighter version of Daredevil. But
Okay.
I don't know if they can capture lightning in a bottle again. I think what made Daredevil work the first time was he was gritty. And so not saying that Marvel has shown with Daredevil Wolverine, they can be gritty now. We can be gritty too. But I just think that Daredevil may have been played out now. So I'm gonna give it 3 WBs. I'll watch it. But if it's the same with him fighting ninjas in a hallway, 100 ninjas in a hallway, I'm out.
Alright. Thunderbolts. Eesh. I think this is another difficult one to call, but I'm gonna drop down again. I'm gonna throw this at 2. Throw this at 2 right
Woo!
off the bat in case unless they let me know something.
What? Man, I'm a little bit higher, man. I'm gonna give it a 5 WBs, man. Something about this, man.
That's
I know.
have you
There's
seen
something
that
about
lineup?
this.
The lineup of bums?
Dude, that actress is phenomenal, man. You ever see
Beautiful.
Midsummer? I forget. Yeah, she's awesome, and she was the best part of did you watch Black Widow?
Yeah,
She was the
and
best part.
I see they got her, I see they got the old guy in the Vindicator suit. What's his name? And then I see old
They're gonna
Taskmaster.
make up for they're gonna make up for Taskmaster. I'm sure they're gonna make that better. They're gonna I liked what's his name? Secret Agent. I think they're gonna do something better with that. And they got Louis Dreyfus, man. I think she's gonna do something interesting with that character. So it's like the bad Avengers. I'm there for it, man. I think and the hell, did we ever find out what the asterisk stood for? I think people were asking about that on the internet. Do we know what that is?
I have no idea.
Okay. Yeah, it's just something to mess with us. So anyway, I'm there for it, man. I'm there for it.
All right. Ironheart. Oh God. Why is this so difficult? I honestly see this going the route of Miss Marvel. I'm just gonna sound like a hater today, man. Yeah, man. Slap another two WBs on this one. Two woke bros. Only
Two
two.
WBs. Wow, man. Yeah, I think I'm leaning toward I like the actress. I think there's something there. But now that we know uh Robert Downey Jr. is coming back. So there's room. Obviously, he's gonna be Doctor Doom, but let's be honest, he'll come back in a second as Iron Man as soon as he can. The door has been opened. We'll see. I don't even know if they're gonna even release it, to be honest with you. I know there's rumors that they're slated to do, but I doubt it. So I'm leaning toward not. So I'm optimistic. I'm cautiously optimistic. So I'm gonna give it a three WBs. Well, bros.
All right. Fantastic Four. Family movie, apparently. Marvel can't make this better than The Incredibles, then pack it up and go home. Something about this with Pedro Pascal and the way they're trying to vibe it out. Three woke bros. I'll give it three.
Mm,
Yeah.
okay.
They're coming with a galactic,
Um,
right? That should be interesting.
yeah. First step supposed to be this pseudo futuristic look and feel from Ultimate Dimension and all that. I hope it doesn't look like. Did you ever see that movie Tomorrowland?
I can't remember
It was,
how it really looked
ye-
visually,
it,
but
yeah, it was like this hyper realist, like this 50s aesthetic, right? But with
mhm,
high tech. The only that was hokey, but the ones that did it was Fallout. We talked about Fallout, right? Has that kind of apocalyptic, but also futuristic, future retro look, right?
mhm,
Fallout, but they juxtapose that good time feeling and optimism from the 50s with negativity, right? And violence and all that. So I don't know if it can just sit by itself, right? When there's no counterbalance to it, right? Just this optimism and especially in our dark ages when we're watching The Boys and other type of
yeah.
shows. So I don't know, man. I'm cautiously optimistic. They're betting the farm on this one because this got to work. They switched up everything. So Fantastic Four, man. I think I give it a three, but cautiously.
Hmm. All right. All right. Now we get into the two big dogs. Wait, you said a year out. Those are 2026. So we don't even have to rank those. All right. Yeah. We're done with the list then.
We'll talk about those later because, as we all know, because originally Avengers Doomsday was originally named Avengers King's Dynasty. So
Yes.
that could be changed if none of this works again. So, yes, we're going to hold. We're just going to see how Donnie's going to get integrated into this thing.
Yeah.
So
We've got some
now that he's a
information
super,
gathering to do on that whole thing anyway.
yeah. Mr. Benja, anything else?
I am good, man. I am going to work on my good sleep for the week and staying hype, tapping into the past. That's all I got going on.
Awesome, man. Well, everyone, thank you for your time. Please like, subscribe, and comment at Show versus Business on X, YouTube, and Instagram. Listen to us at Spotify, iTunes, or wherever you listen to podcasts. You want to check us out? Go check out our website. Go visit us at Show versus Business. Mr. Benja, have a great one.
Peace.